What?
It's 7:15 already. You don't want to be late for school. We gotta get eating, we gotta get dressed, we gotta get our teeth brushed. My daily routine is pretty much like the average person's. I get up in the morning, I go get a shower, get ready for work, just like everybody else. You're so funny.
I have this tray that you take that forward.
Okay, eat your food. And I get my kids ready for school. Get them ready for school, get them out the door. It's pretty typical, I think, of what anybody with children goes through during a regular day, just like I said, except for the fact that I have a personal assistant that comes in and helps with some of the things I can't do myself.
Independent living's kind of like growing up. When you're a kid, all you want to do is grow up so you can be an adult, make your own decisions, and do what you want to do. Unfortunately, when you have a disability, you're limited in that, and people don't seem to give you the same opportunities. They want to make your decisions for you, to keep you safe, to do what's best, and kind of treat you like a pet instead of a person. Everybody's born with different ideas, goals, dreams, and everybody should have the right to pursue those, and living independently gives you that right.
Independent living matters because we, as a community, need to realize that there are people who are inappropriately put into nursing homes and nursing facilities, and they could be living in the community costing a lot less money, and they would have better care and just a better quality of living, and that's very important.
To live independently means, to me, it means freedom. I'm not controlled by anybody. I have my own mind and think for myself.
I've got multiple sclerosis, MS, and it took my legs out from under me. But you know what? They told me I would never get out of my bed and walk, and look at me now. I'm able to get out and do things I never could have done before. I can get out in my wheelchair, I just can go places.
It's about not looking at me as a person with a disability, but looking at me as a person. So I may need some assistance here, but you give me a chance, I can do it.
There was a time in this nation where people with disabilities were severely oppressed. They were forced into nursing homes, into institutions, facilities that eventually became overcrowded, and people were treated terribly. There was a fight to get out of there. There was a civil rights movement. And when people started coming out, they realized there isn't access to transportation. How do people get jobs without access to transportation? There isn't access to housing. You can't even get up on a curb because there's not curb cuts. And there was a time people didn't even have equal access to education. This is truly about people's rights. It's about equal opportunity. It's about removing those barriers that people throughout our history have fought for, and they're still there. There's still plenty of barriers. There's still limited access to accessible housing. There's still limited access to accessible transportation. And you think about what that does to an economy or a group of people is it continues to oppress them, because if you can't get a job, you can't pay for your house or your apartment. So breaking down those barriers and providing people the supports and understanding where it came from, so you don't lose sight of that, is important.
The person accredited with being the father for the independent living movement was Ed Roberts, who was a gentleman that I think he had polio, and he spent most of his life in an iron lung. They told him he would never work, because he spent so much time in an iron lung. He graduated from Berkeley. He got the attention of Jerry Brown in California, who was a governor at the time, and he became the director of the VR system in California. So he kind of proved them wrong. I grew up in Denver, Colorado in the 70s, and I watched this happen, and I think that's why I got involved. I mean, for a long time I went a different path, but I got involved with the independent living movement. There was a social worker in a nursing home who noticed a lot of kids, young people, coming into the nursing homes. Well, he got a building, put these kids in their own apartments, and he provided the services for them. They sat around and said, well, now what do? We can't go anywhere. There's nothing for us to do. So these 13 young people, men and women, took over a bus in downtown Denver. And I was living there, so I was watching and see how cool this is. That they crawled out of their wheelchairs. They did whatever they could. They took the bus. It was at least 3 days that I can remember. And then Denver all of a sudden became the first city in the country to have lifts on buses. The home and community-based service is primarily there to provide the supports of the things that people cannot do themselves, to allow you to do those daily living tasks that most of us take for granted. You should be able to get what you need and how you need it. So the home and community-based services now empower the person with a disability to say, I'll just get some support that I need to make it.
I'm a home modifications coordinator, which means I go out to visit people with different physical disabilities to try to alleviate barriers in their home so that they can be more independent and they can get in and out of their house and be more involved in their communities. And then I develop ways to alleviate the barriers and make things easier for them so that they can live independently.
The services that I find most vital are the assistance I get from my cell in filling out important paperwork and the activities I participate in with them, because it gets me out into the community and gives me a purpose. I advocate for other people with disabilities through the cell.
There's a lot of people that put the walls up and the barriers of where they think that they can't get up and do things where they can, because they don't know about programs like the wellness program. And the barriers themselves can be broken down. They don't have to be confined to their house. They don't have to say, well, I can't do this. You can do it. There is people out there that can help you. And the wellness program is a place to go.
Being a member of the community and living with a disability, it has its challenges, but I know I have a disability, but it doesn't stop me from doing anything I want to accomplish. The independent living philosophy and the independent living movement has given me the ability to know that I can accomplish anything I set my mind on. Whether I need help doing a minimal task or something at work, I know I have the assistance that it takes to get the job done.
Home and community-based services are what keeps people in the community and lets us stay in our own homes and lets us have a life. It allows me to be able to be married and have children and be the treasurer of the soccer league and and participate in the PTA meetings and everything that I do. Yes, I may have a disability, but I'm a person. I have a bachelor's degree, I have a master's degree, I work full time, I have a family, I have a husband, I have kids, I have a dog, I have a life just like everyone else. And I would like to convey to the public that folks with disabilities are the same as anyone else, as the same as folks without disabilities. We have the same wants, needs, desires as people without disabilities. People need to look at people as individuals and not as disabilities. And just be a little respectful